So Pixel 9a just released out, and it's kind of like setting the limits for what the features should be in a mid-range phone, and also competing with Nothing Phone 3a with higher battery size, with higher RAM, with higher storage, and with higher features. Let's talk about it.
The perfect player that be me. Got 'em poppin', party poppin', celebrating like 2 feet on the ground, 10 tippy toes down, gather round. What you gon' do now? Hola, hi, hello, flawless every day, yeah. Ain't you get the memo? Everything I touch turn gold, let the spotlight glow like whoa, perfecto.
Google just released out Pixel 9a, and it's at price bracket of $499. If you talk about the last year Pixel 8a, it's also at $499. So now Google is still managing out at the price bracket of $499 their new Pixel. Let's talk about Google Pixel's new design. So if you talk about any of the smartphone company, they're already managing it out for a particular price bracket for a particular design of their smartphone. We have already seen Pixel 8, we have already seen iPhone 16e, video will be coming soon. We have already seen Nothing Phone, we have already seen Samsung. But I kind of likely worrying about the new Pixel 9. There are many thoughts out there like you increase the battery size by, decreasing them camera bump. That's an extra space it just willing to take. You just remove that. We don't want camera bump these days. And okay, now the Pixel 9a without a camera bump. Talking about there how it feels, so it's actually aluminum build at the side corners, but the back side is plastic, and I think it's the most premium feeling you can give the users at that price bracket, means $499. Like the place where you often touch your phone is just like the side corners, and that is made up of aluminum and giving it more protection in the sense, and the plastic. Goddamn, do you think people ever cares about the black plastic just because you already have to put a case onto it? So I don't think so. If you are, in that small percentage of people who don't put the case on their phone, so that's not your choice. Talking about their display, the display is kind of good, but I don't like the bezel at all, just because nowadays, Google A series are now bezels are increasing day by day, means year by year passing on, as they have increased the bezel in 7a, 8a, and now in 9a. And I don't think they should be doing in 10a. If 10a might get that bezel up upgrade, then the bezel will be this much thick. So they still manages out to get a 6.3 inches of display, which is good for a mid-range phone. It's in full HD display. Kind of good. The colors are nice, contrast are nice, but kind of compares about in that price bracket of phone. I think Google should be making more, good displays in that particular price bracket. Talking about batteries, so Google Pixel 9a manages out and fitting the best battery the Pixel has ever gotten, which is 5100 million hours battery, which could be last long 1.5 days straightforward, and the CPU is Tensor G4. And I think that Google still manages out to give the Google 9a the same amount of power in terms of CPU, just because their flagship 9a Pro and all that also comes with Tensor G4 CPU, and they're still managing out to give 9a the same amount of CPU capacity. So that's nice. In terms of protection, it's covered with Gorilla Glass 3 instead of Victus. So I kind of you cannot ignore that, just because Victus is more giving you protection. And I think at that price bracket, people are always willing for the protection instead of features inside the smartphone, just because they will take that smartphone over a longer years, 2, 3, 4, and maybe longer than that. Just because I've already seen person using Pixel 3a yet in 2025. So start concentrating on protection. So coming to the main point, should you buy the Pixel 9a? And if yes, then why should you buy Pixel 9a? So here's my take, again, my conclusion. So I think $499 price segment, there are a bunch of smartphone in that criteria. If you talk about recently released Nothing Phone 3a, that are in the criteria of $350, that is a pretty good phone kind of sense. And if you increase $100 more, you can still manages to get out iPhone 16e. But if you separate that refurbished market and you want a new latest phone, I think that Nothing Phone 3a is kind of good choice, just because their display is kind of more good and more contrasting in terms of quality overall. That Nothing Phone 3a will only get about 3 years of software update, and Pixel still manages out to give you the 7 years of software update. And the right price bracket that matters in particular. And I don't think so often people will see at $499 that they're still willing to get a flagship amount of camera. Just Pixel cameras are nice. Here are some examples. Contrastiness, the edginess, and overall quality of the picture is good. Not comparing with that Nothing Phone 3a, it's more great. So in particular, I will say cameras more great than Pixel 3a, less great than that of iPhone 16e. Battery size 5100 million hours battery, and also 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. And the main thing here is 7 years of software update are the enough reasons for you to buy Google Pixel. But there are still rumors around that Pixel 10 series will soon be coming with Tensor G5 CPUs. So you can wait till that, and that are most important and essential thing, just because it will give you much more software updates. It will give you much more camera updates, and also camera quality, and also the overall quality of the phone. But it will again with that price bracket $200 more expensive. So yeah, and until you test Pixel 9a series, till a time, keep vibrating just like a corpse. Take care.